Hi guys, and welcome to another video. Are you all still buzzing? I'm absolutely still buzzing, but you might be looking at this and thinking, Joel, you said you're going to go have a break from YouTube, from making videos, but I thought to myself, you know, I'm too excited not to make videos, but also there's a couple of video ideas that I have in my head that I think would be, or at least they'd make more sense if I uploaded them now, or I created them now, do you know what I mean, just after the season finished, rather than a little bit later down the line. So I've got another couple of little videos that I do want to bring out, including this one. So this is a video of me going through the players that are currently out of contract or have been on loan this season, and whether I think we should try and keep them or whether we should let them go, or of course players who are going out of contract, should we offer them another contract? Do you know what I mean? A contract extension. No, I'm not going to go through the entire team and say, do I want them to stay or want them to go? This is specifically players who have been on loan or are going out of contract. So I hope that makes sense. That other video is going to be way down the line, probably when the transfer window starts up again, something like that, I'm not too sure. But as of right now, it's only players that are going out of contract or was on loan next season. You know, some of these loan players, they might not even come back. They might not want to come back, do you know what I mean? But this is just if I had the choice, would I bring them back? Do you know what I mean? And of course, in the comments down below, let me know what you think about my opinions and what is your opinion on these players as well. And if you're new, please subscribe. We're currently on 14.2k, 14,200, we're nearly 14,300 at the minute. But we're so close to 15,000. If you haven't subscribed already, and I know so many of you guys, you watch the videos, but you just haven't clicked the subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds, bang, and you're done. If you do that for me, it'd be massively, massively appreciated. But on with the video. We do have a relatively lengthy list to get through. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players currently going out of contract. I'm not too sure whether this is an entirely accurate list, but if it is, then there we go. So we're going to start off with none other than Patrick Roberts. Patrick Roberts, of course, he was a sort of wonder kid, wasn't he, just a few years ago, and he just kind of fizzled out. He had an amazing season at Celtic when he was out on loan from Manchester City. They went here, there and everywhere, didn't really shine. Originally when he came to us in January, I was excited about the prospect of having him in League One, and even then, in his first few games, he didn't do it for me either. I think he looked quite poor, quite predictable on the wing when he's trying to take on players. Relatively slow, didn't look fully match fit, as you'd expect. But then, for the playoff push, the playoff charge, and then the few games before the playoff semis, he was absolutely fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. And for me, there's a lot of these players that are on this out-of-contract list. I think, if you asked me in January, I would have a very different opinion. But I think whilst Alex Neil is in charge, who, by the way, should definitely be getting a new contract. I've said it on social media. He needs at least a 10-year contract as Alex Neil for me. But either way, Alex Neil has brought out the best of some of these players, and they're almost like new signings in themselves. For me, Patrick Roberts, I think under the guidance of Alex Neil, back in the Championship, keep him fit as well, and keep his sharpness there, because as soon as you saw that he was sharp, he was match fit and he was match sharp, it was a nightmare for defenders. Patrick Roberts, he's so direct with his running, the way he cuts in from right to left. He's not scared to run at players. His willingness to run a little bit like, the likes of Embleton, like I mentioned in the last video. His willingness to run, Gooch, very similar. But he's got that class about him, and I think if we bring him back to his best in the Championship, he is more than capable of doing a job in the second tier of English football. So for me, Patrick Roberts, it is a yes. Offer him a new deal. Now, next up is RB Jamali. Now, this one absolutely kills me because he's been injured for pretty much 95% of his time with us. He looked relatively promising in spits and spurts. When he did come back from injury, I think he did have a couple of games, didn't he, where he looked relatively comfortable, but that was in League One. His pace isn't fantastic, and I can't really judge too much on him purely because of the lack of time we have seen him. He had a half-decent pre-season, of course, had that huge injury which ruled him out for the majority of the season, which is a shame. But I don't think we've seen enough of him, and when he was in, or when he did play, which was very, very little, it isn't as if he sort of stuck out like a sore thumb. Maybe we could give him a year or something, maybe to give him a chance, but in the Championship, I just don't think we can afford to take too many risks. So for me, sadly, I would say no to RB Jamali. Now, next up, probably one of the easiest ones on this list, Bailey Wright. Absolutely, he's an utter warrior. He is a man who, is a sort of, when I try and describe what I want a Sunderland player to be in terms of an absolute warrior and a beast at the back, that is, he fits the bill 100%, you know what I mean? If you look at warrior in the dictionary, you've got Bailey Wright's face there with just blood dripping down next to it, it's He's an absolutely fantastic guy as well. I think he's done a lot in terms of charity work around the Sunderland area. He's another player who, he gets it, as people say. But he does. He absolutely gets it. He loves the club, it seems. He's gone through some difficult patches with the club. I remember when he first come on loan to us, he was amazing, one of the best centre-backs I've seen in a long time for the club. Then we signed him on a permanent and he was terrible for a long time. He was really, really poor. But then again, it's another player under Alex Neil. I think under Lee Johnson, he fizzled out a lot. Alex Neil has kind of given this new lease of life. You never know, half these players might just be doing great purely because they're fighting for a new contract. But if you can keep him at the level that Bailey Wright has been, particularly over the last sort of 7, 8, 9, 10 games, then again he's been in the Championship, he's played in the Championship before, he's got that experience, and we see what he is capable of now. So I would absolutely give Bailey Wright another deal, maybe a 1 or 2 year deal. I would absolutely be okay with that. And next up is Aiden McGeady. Again, it's a heartbreaking one. It's a heartbreaking decision to make because I do love Aiden McGeady. I think he absolutely, he did another one that got the club. He's of course got an amazing amount of talent, skill in abundance. His technique is phenomenal for League One. He took the piss at times, but at his age now, and he's just not come. He's come back from a long-term injury, and he's been playing on injections for the sort of best part of the last 3 years, only 4 years even, on injections. Can he withstand the Championship? I'm going to say no, unfortunately. I think he might. He could. A fully fit Aiden McGeady, even at this age, he could probably offer something. In terms of say we're struggling to get a goal, obviously a sort of ball draw with 10 minutes to go, to bring him on. Maybe he could give you that sort of moment of magic, maybe that bit of flair. But I think the Championship could be a bit much of a step up for someone of Aiden's age, and he's coming back from this long-term injury as well. And like I say, he's been living on injections for ages. So for me, I wouldn't be offering Aiden another contract, sadly. And now it is the boy, it is the adopted Mackim, it is none other than Lynden Gooch. It's a no-brainer again for me. Again, it's one of these. It is the one. If you asked me in January, I probably would have said no, because even in League One, he goes through spells, he goes through spits and spurts of 5 or 6 games where he looks untouchable, and then he'll go 2-3 months where he's just the most predictable, awful player, do you know what I mean, in terms of his end product and what have you. But Alex Neil, like I've said so many times now, he's really got into Lynden Gooch, and he's almost undroppable. He's one of the first players on the team sheet for me, purely because there was simple instruction. I've said this, I'm repeating myself a lot, but he has clearly been given the simple instruction of, as soon as you get the opportunity to put the ball in the box, do it. Don't piss around with taking on your... Yeah, take on your man. Go for your man if you believe that's the best option. But don't try and take on your man and then do it again and do it again and do it again. And you end up losing your opportunity to get the ball in the box. He gets the ball in early as humanly possible. And it's shown that he does have a very, very good delivery. So for me, Lynden Gooch, he loves Sunderland. He's been here since a very, very early age. And I believe he is sitting down with Alex Neil today. I believe it's today. So we might end up hearing some news today about Lynden Gooch. But for me, he deserves a new contract. I love Lynden. Absolutely love Lynden. You can see his emotions after the final. He loves the club. You could probably buy another Lynden Gooch in terms of ability quite easily, maybe even on the cheap. But you will never ever be able to replace the passion and love he has for the club. There's no one else around that has the same love and passion like Lynden does at this moment in time. There isn't. So you can't beat that. And he does have quality to boot. When he is on form, and when he's got the right mindset on, and he's confident, that his confidence is there, he's a good player. He absolutely has the ability. So I'm going to say yes, Lynden Gooch. I'll give him another couple of years. And now we do move over to Jordan Willis. Now, Jordan Willis, this is a really, really difficult one for me. It's probably just as much of a heartbreak as it is with Aiden McGeady, purely because if you watch my videos from a good 2-3 years ago when we first signed Jordan Willis, I loved him and I thought he was by far and away our best centre-back. His pace and strength and his reading of the game is fantastic. When you had players who didn't quite have the pace and the speed to keep up with balls coming over the top, he was saving our asses time and time and again. Last-ditch challenges with his pace, like I say. And he is a very, very good defender, but unfortunately, he's been out for such a lengthy spell now. And the club have been great with him, They've kept him on board. They didn't have to offer him another contract. Basically kept him around just to look after him in terms of his recovery from his injury. And it's a big injury as well. Will we get, Jordan Willis, I really, really liked him as a League One defender, and he was absolutely fantastic with League One. But to come back from an injury like that, it's going to take a hell of a long time to get to full match fitness, and then to do it in the Championship, which is a step above as well. Can he do it? For me, again, I don't think we can take the risk. So for me, I would not be offering Jordan Willis another contract. Now, Lee Burge is the next one. I mean, as a backup goalkeeper, you probably couldn't go too wrong with Lee Burge, but he has got a mistake in him. For me, you know, as much as I love Patterson, and he has come on leaps and bounds, for me, he's currently our number one, Patterson, absolutely. Can he make the step up to the Championship? Patterson, he absolutely deserves the opportunity to do so, but I do think we definitely need an experienced goalkeeper to be brought in. Does that mean that Burge doesn't get a look in? Maybe, we shall see. I mean, with Burge, I'm kind of 50-50, but I absolutely believe that we need another goalkeeper to really compete with Patterson because, you know, it is a huge step up. The quality in the shots he's going to be facing in the crosses to claim, they're going to be a completely different level that we've faced in League One for Patterson. So Patterson deserves to get the opportunity to start as a League One, but we don't know how he will cope and how he will fare in Championship. But so I fully expect us to get another goalkeeper, an experienced Championship level goalkeeper. For me, Burge, I'm 50-50. If you want it to be third string, fair enough. Maybe, but you say that we have Burge. It's one of those, isn't he, with Burge, where he can come up with a great reaction save, and the next game he'll have 2 or 3 games where it's an absolutely howler after howler after howler. For me, I'm 50-50. I can't really decide. I won't be too disgruntled if he was. If he wasn't, I won't be too fussed either. So yeah, all the best to him, but it's one of those. I can't really decide. I'm probably more leaning towards him now, if I'm honest. Now we are going to move on to the lads that were on loan. A couple of them here I'm a little bit confused about, and I know everyone's got different stories here. The likes of Hoffman and Diaku. I know that one of them, I think it might be Diaku, where there was a clause that pretty much stated that if we did get promoted, we have to sign them. And I believe that is Diaku. In terms of Hoffman, I think that it's just simply a loan spell and there's no clause. I think anyway, I could be completely wrong here, but I'm going to go through each of these players as if, you know, we do have the option anyway. Do you know what I mean? So Hoffman, for me, I do prefer Hoffman to Lee Burge. I'm going to say it. I know that he also has the ability to pull off a howler, but some of his reflex saves earlier on in the season when he was our number one, they were second to none. They were world class. Some of the saves he pulled off, some worldies, mind you, for the opening sort of 10-15 games, were absolutely phenomenal. Then he did go through a little bit of a blip. He did get bullied a little bit, but I think, you know, one of the guys like Neil, you've got Priest in there, the goalkeeping coach, you know, to maybe get under him, because he is only a young lad as well, Hoffman, you know. So if he can work the way he has done with Patterson, I think there's a lot more potential in Hoffman than there is in Burge. So for me, if the option was there, you know, I would probably have Patterson, then bring in another experienced Championship keeper and keep on Hoffman. I wouldn't mind that as a trio at all, which would of course mean Burge would have to go, but I wouldn't mind it. I know some people really don't like Hoffman, but you need to remember when Hoffman was going through his bad spell, we brought in Patterson. The first 2 or 3 games Patterson had, he was having shockers as well. So everyone is capable of having poor games, is what I'm trying to say. For me, I won't be completely against Hoffman staying. In fact, I quite like it if we have him a couple of years. Just try, you know, like I said, he's a very young lad, you know, give him an opportunity, coach him. I wouldn't say no at all. Now, Jacques Clarke, he's one of those, again, it can be so frustrating. He can go through 4 or 5 games where he's so frustrating, so predictable, running into danger all the time, constantly losing the ball, not giving the ball earlier or quicker than you should do. Then he's got another game where he's just terrorising the team and he's ripping them to shreds. He can run, he can take past 3, 4, 5 players very easily. And with an improvement on his final product, he could be absolutely lethal, and I would absolutely think he could do it in League One as well. Sorry, in a Championship as well, because he has proved he can do it in League One. But again, it's another young lad to be coached correctly. If the opportunity was there, I don't think it's going to be, but if the opportunity was there, I would take Jacques Clarke. Yes, it's a thumbs up from me. Leon Diaku. Now, he is the one that, of course, I do think that we have to sign him anyway. I believe that is the case. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But if I had the option, I would say no. I give him quite a lot of stick, and I was probably his biggest critic earlier on in the season when we first signed him, because I just didn't see what he was all about. You know, he was getting pushed off the ball so easily, he was so weak, he was losing it constantly, trying these skills that never come off, his passing ability was terrible. But then he went through a phase of sort of like 4 or 5 games, or 3 or 4 games where he was really, really decent. He thought, that's what we were all about. You know, on the counter-attack, he's driving down the wings, cutting inside, he grabbed a couple of goals as well. And then he just fizzled out again, and he was just shocking. For me, he's just so unbelievably weak. So weak for the English game. He gets bullied, pushed around really easily. And, you know, again, I think we've just got players that are better than him. I think Roberts is better than him. Of course, Clarke, if he was to say Clarke is better than him. I prefer Gooch to Diaku. I just don't really rate him. I think it sounds good that, he used to play for Bayern Munich. He has a fancy hairstyles and all that kind of stuff. And I know that's why quite a lot of the younger fans do like him, and I can see why. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing is appealing to maybe the younger generation. That's not me belittling the younger ones, but that is a thing. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I just don't see the ability. He struggled in League One, and I can't see him doing anything in the Championship. For me, if the option was there, I would not be signing Leon Diaku, but I think we are obliged to. Now, again, it's probably one of the easiest ones. Nathan Broadhead, I would sign him in a heartbeat. Unfortunately, literally just before I made this video, or sorry to record this video, I believe he has picked up, yes, another injury, which is a massive, massive shame. But this is the thing with Broadhead, when he is fit, I think he is easily a Championship player. Easily a Championship player. But we get like, a run of 7 or 8 games, maybe at a push, and then we don't see him for a month and a half, 2 months. Do you know what I mean? And when we do get him for those 6, 7, 8 games, whatever it is, he's fantastic. He's probably our best striker. Of course, Ross Stewart is up there as well, but on the completely different players, really. But he's an absolutely fantastic player with his pace, his intelligent movement off the ball is fantastic, and he can finish. Do you know what I mean? That's what you want. But, you're injured every sort of 7 or 8 games. But for me, he only has a year left at Everton. I think we could get him on the cheap. And if that is the case, Broadhead is a no-brainer again for me. Absolutely sign him up. Now, lastly, Callum Doyle is another one that I think he has so much potential. He had a fantastic start to the season. He was bullying. There was a League One strikers that, that big brutes. And this, like Callum Doyle, was only a young lad. He's only a kid. And he were bullying him, and his confidence to burst forward from centre-back or from, sometimes we play back three to come out from the left-hand side and bring it forward. And his passing ability was great. The opening 10, 15 games, like I say, he was almost my player of the season at that point. But then it did start to drop. And that's when, once the whole team's, we have to say, you can't just blame on him, but the whole team's sort of level of performance dropped, didn't it, significantly after the opening 10. But it's another one where he's a young lad. Alex Neil, he gets the best out of players and everyone seems to be on board with him. And I can see a huge future in the game for Callum Doyle. Huge. And I mean massive. I think he could go on to Premier League level, in my opinion. If he's coached correctly, because like I say, so the opening 10 games, 15 maybe 15 to push, but 10, everything was going his way. His winning of the ball, he did have that bit of pace, that strength. He was bullying players. He was bringing it forward. His passing ability was great. How he was driving it into like Ross Stewart from distance, and they were pinpoint passes as well. But then he just went through a run of games where just none of that was going his way. His pinpoint passes were going straight to the opposition. He was losing the ball in daft positions, and you could see that his match fitness was almost running out a little bit as well because we overused him so much for a young lad, and he lost his bit of pace, didn't he? He lost a yard of pace. But if he is controlled and managed correctly, I would absolutely fine with signing Callum Doyle. I don't think we will because he's got, I don't know what his deal is at the minute with Man City, but I know he's very, very, very highly thought of over there. So, but if we did get the opportunity, I'd absolutely sign Callum Doyle. And I'd do it on a long-term contract as well, which could surprise a few. But I really, really like him. He has all the pieces there to be a phenomenal defender. He just needs that work and that guidance to put those pieces together. But that is all of the players, guys. If I've missed anyone out, I do apologise, but that is just a list that has been given to me, so that could have been incorrect. I'm not too sure. But again, let me know in the comments down below, who should we keep and who should we get rid of or not offer another contract, or who would you like to see stay of the lads that were on loan in League One? But there we go. If you've enjoyed, hit the like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. But for now, take care and stay jammy.